Hey, coming up on today's show, we've got
Ford. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We've got a few topics to bring to your attention about our good friends over at Ford. Yeah, a little Bronco news. Deliveries being taken.
We've got like all kinds of Bronco news. How could you not? Yeah.
We do, and you know I just want to touch. We're going to touch a little bit about their marketing strategies that they've got, and they seem to be doing very well with those. And
don't forget the Maverick.
Yeah, we're not going to forget the Maverick. Yeah,
my grandmother had a Maverick. I took my driver's test on a Maverick.
I owned a Maverick. It was a 4-door Maverick, though.
Yeah,
it was
likewise. I didn't own it, but I drove it. Yeah,
sedan.
Yeah.
It was a tan sedan, so there you go. So we got that coming up. We got some latest information, and I don't know how you could call it latest because the chess pieces continue to get moved all over that board with Lordstown. So we've got some Lordstown news. I think it's becoming more of a ride stock situation more than actually making vehicles. We'll see how that goes. So we'll get into a little bit of that.
Koenigsegg.
Did you hear?
We got Koenigsegg. We got a volcano fuel situation going on there.
We do. That's interesting. It wouldn't pumice. Pumice is like the byproduct of volcanic activity.
I just know it's the stuff they use in that lava soap that mechanics use to clean their hands.
Exactly, which is pumice. And so you know we've all had volcanoes in our lives once or twice in our lives. If you've turned a few wrenches or tried to clean your hands after a hard day's work on a vehicle, this is some volcano information that's going to really be a little different than what you're thinking. And we got that. Yeah,
got a little bit of an "I told you so."
I'd say I told you so.
And
oh boy,
why a Tesla might be your next favorite flat towable vehicle to pull behind your motorhome. We'll tell you why. All that coming up.
Hey, everybody, welcome into the podcast, the Parts Counter Guru Counter Show, the show of shows. Keith, it's been a minute. How are you, my friend?
I'm fantastic. On an undisclosed location out here, there might be some RVs near me. Fair warning, Jay, I don't play golf, but I'm sitting on the edge of a golf course, and so if you see me like duck, or people start yelling at me, or golf carts drive by, or, just like Bill Murray runs behind me chasing a gopher.
Oh, man.
Which I have seen some gophers. Just fair warning. You never know what's going to happen on these shows.
Cue the gopher. Yeah, so we're excited, man.
Speaking of never knowing what's going to happen,
right.
Yeah, you go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I'm excited. I may not sound as excited. I'm a little tired today, but had a late night. But we have been preparing for this 100th episode that's coming up, guys, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. We're getting things squared away. Keith is going to join me live for that, live and in person. We're going to hook up and have a good time at our local favorite that I usually go down and have a few beverages and conversations at the Union Tavern locally here. So we got that coming up.
So July 7th, we will be recording live our 100th podcast episode.
It's pretty crazy.
Now, I'm saying it that way on purpose because I don't know if we're going to live stream any part of that or not. We might, but here's what I would tell you. Keep an eye on the socials And we will keep you up to date on that. We might do a little fan participation kind of thing. We've got some contests, got some giveaways, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. So, partscounterguru.com,
Yep.
facebook.com/partscountergurus. Jay, I'm lost here. I just
that's
stepped
it.
into the deep end of the pool. Yeah, go ahead.
Instagram.com/thepartscountergurus. We'll be over on Twitter. We'll tweet. We'll probably be heavily tweeting during the podcast for sure. So
At The Counter Show on Twitter.
That's it. And keep your eye on that. Follow us there. So we'll try to post up a few pictures and have a few little contests going on. Like Keith said, some giveaways. But we're going to have an opportunity for you guys. Hopefully we'll get it set up for you to buy some merch that we're working on.
Oh, that's coming soon. We're working on a web store where you can buy some very cool. I have seen pictures.
Yes, and I'm going to be
merch.
playing around with some hat configurations here next week too. So we'll see. Maybe we'll have a few new hats and stuff. But you've had an exciting journey so far. You've said Starlink is not working yet, right?
I'm about to cancel that, actually. So I did some more reading up on Starlink. We'll call this a little bonus segment. And, I originally was interested in it because it's satellite internet. And I thought, you can, I see all these guys in RVs and campgrounds with their satellite TV. And, basically the idea is TV wherever you are, whether you're in civilization or not. It turns out that right now in the startup phase of Starlink, it only works in certain cities.
Yeah, that's too bad.
And so it's not going to be as RV friendly as I thought. So I'm going to kind of nix it for now because it's not. I mean, what's the point of satellite internet if it can't work? Like satellite phones, right? Like we were out in a national park taking hikes recently, and cell phones don't work, but satellite phones do. And the Park Service tells you that. Well, I mean, you would think the same for the internet, but. And I'm not saying it's not going to end up there, but right now. It's just not there.
It's just not.
Yeah,
because my whole thought process on that was, and of course they have to test them. They have to test the systems for sure to make sure it's
we
stability.
do. I think that's kind of the deal is we're testing.
You're going to sign up to pretty much test it, yes. But the bottom line, I think Elon Musk's whole intent was to provide quality high-speed internet to just about any rural area on the planet, and we're a long ways away from getting that to happen, so we'll see how that goes. So
and you got Bezos in space, so I mean,
that's
these guys are all they're just.
What is up with that, man? Yeah,
I honestly think it's just how it's sort of the battle of the ridiculousness egos kind of thing, like because you had. He announced that, and then you got Sir Richard Branson going, "Oh no, I'm going first." Right? Did you hear about this?
Right, I did, man.
Yeah, and so it's like,
nuts.
Yeah.
Well, Richard Branson, man, he's been that kind of guy for a long time.
Right, right.
As far as I'm concerned, I think Bezos is riding that guy's coattails, man. So, at the end of the day, I think it's fun to watch. I think it's an exciting time in our lives to watch, to even be having these types of conversations. About who's going to get into space on a casual note rather than some sort of work-related thing. So, but that's interesting for sure. And, while we're speaking of Tesla, man, I tell you, and camping, and we'll just kind of roll right into this thing. You brought this to my attention. You were pretty excited about it.
I see what you did there. You said Tesla. You said
owners.
You said we'll roll right in. You see that? You see that?
I did.
Okay, sorry.
That was an unintentional segue in, but it did. I'm glad it worked. Glad you're wise on your fingers there, man, so you could get that sound effect with it. But at the end of the day, this is something that's hasn't been known. It's just something that really hasn't been tried in this manner to test it to see if it would actually work, and it does, and it's I'll touch on it and then let Keith really get into it and tell you why this is so important, which is it's basically the regenerative braking, which is nothing new. Regenerative braking has been around for a couple hundred years at least, right? Or at least 150 years. That technology, they use it on trains. trains and some subway lines, electric powered subways and stuff like that. I think the Tube in London uses some form of regenerative braking, which basically it will restore about 20% of power. It helps that. So Keith, why don't you tell our viewers how important this is to someone like yourself who's out on the highway in a motorhome with a tow behind.
Yeah.
So,
and some people like to call those dinghies or flat tows. Basically, the concept is you're towing the car 4 wheels rolling on the pavement instead of on a trailer.
Right.
I tow my FJ on a trailer because FJs can't. A lot of Toyotas don't like to be towed with the wheels turning. They just
plus
don't.
there's no other advantage you have by doing that over flat tow versus trailer towing. I've driven Teslas. There's typically different levels of intensity that you can set on this, and they call it regenerative braking. The brakes on the vehicle actually have very little to do with the process. Right, it's the motors themselves. So, yeah.
Now, if you turn that off, you'll coast just like a traditional automobile internal combustion engine. But the higher you set that regenerative braking, you really almost never have to touch your brake pedal. You just let off the gas and the car starts to brake, and it's using those turning motors almost like generators to create electricity, right? So
that's right.
So for those of you that own motorhomes, and I'm one of you, a lot of people tow Jeeps. A Honda CR-V is a real popular one because they're super lightweight. And I'm trying to think of some of the other ones we see. Oh, hey, we got side shots here in the house. Yeah, that might work. Did you bring your headphones?
Well, one in, plug into your computer.
Yeah, go get your headphones and come back. We might have a guest showing up in a few minutes, everybody.
This is a spontaneous in the moment.
You never know what's going to happen out here in nature.
Special guest out here.
But anyway, I digress. So go get your headphones. If you want to leave that cable with me, it's about to get rolled up in the wheel, though, and I'll see you in a minute. All right.
And by the way, before you finish that story, with Side Shot coming back in here, it's important to note that Side Shot has been an inspiration to both Keith and I, coming up with some of the stories, and he really has his finger on the pulse out there.
Oh, wait till you hear what he said about Lordstown. We'll get to that later.
Well, when we get into the Lordstown discussion, we'll have him give us his piece on that, his take on that. So.
Yeah. Okay. So back to Tesla. So we've talked. Jay brought this up most recently on one of our last podcasts, but Teslas really are kind of becoming an ideal tow behind vehicle for RVers. And one of the reasons, Jay, that you brought up was, well, hey, you've got 50 amp service in an RV park, in a lot of these parks, 30 amp at least if they have electricity. A lot of them have 50 amp. Dude, you could charge your Tesla while you're, plugged in overnight. But now we have news where, and this has been done before, but not at highway speeds, where people are flat towing Teslas at highway speeds, leaving them in gear. Okay, so that's kind of the key here. And they are recharging the batteries by doing so at highway speeds. Now, this test, when they performed it, and we got this from InsideEVs.com.
So it's a guy. I don't know if you guys are familiar with, and I've watched the channel before. It's Warped Perception YouTube channel is basically what it is. A guy by the name of Rich who's behind that channel. He tries a lot of crazy stuff, on his channel, and he wanted to try this, and he used his very own Tesla Model S, and he towed it behind. It was being towed behind his Mercedes-Benz E-Class. To prove this point that this works. He didn't know for sure, but you have to get up to a specific speed in order for it to get into that high charging mode. So go ahead from there, Keith. I'm stealing your thunder.
That's perfect. So what they found out is that if you tow this thing at highway speeds, you get fast charging equivalent. It's recharging at basically the same level that you would get at a fast charging station. Not a supercharger, a fast charger.
Right.
Okay?
Right. It's about half the rate of a supercharger is what you're getting out of it. So it's a fast charger, much faster than you would. Obviously, and we'll get into some of the details here. You're a lot better off to tow the vehicle and do this than you get charged up at a much faster rate than you would going in and plugging it at a station. It might take you 3 hours to get where you need to be.
Yeah, so kind of this thing of if you're gonna, again, like Jay, like when I saw this, I said, somebody in the RV industry needs to jump on this because
absolutely.
you have the potential here now. If the manufacturers like Tesla or Ford with their Mach-E or GM with any of their stuff or really anybody that's making EVs will basically approve this as official, you tend to sell a lot more units to RV owners that need to flat tow a vehicle because you would never have to plug that thing in theory. If you move around every 4 or 5 days, you just hook the car up and go, and it's charged by the time you get where you're going.
We've talked a lot about what Airstream is doing with their e-assist trailers that they're focusing on right now, which is the same principle as what we're talking about right now. So to think for 1 second that you can't still have the same amount of fun without the worry with an all-electric vehicle and an all-electric tow behind, you're out of your mind.
Yep.
I mean, just look at the technology. This has proven the point that you can do this and achieve it. And once you get to your destination, like Keith was saying, if you go to an RV park, you're already set up with 50 amp hookups, man. And so you're going to see the excuses that I hear from some people on some of these forums about we don't have the infrastructure to do. Yeah, right. Yes, we do have the infrastructure, people.
Outside the box thinking, right? Like this is kind of that creative thinking that if we kind of known for that in this country, right? Especially during the great generation, or the greatest generation. Like this is perfect. Like
absolutely.
Yes, go do this and boom. You don't even have to pay for a recharge. You just it's organic, as they say.
So some of the details on this, just to kind of give this to you, and they don't recommend that you try this until Tesla officially comes out and says, yeah, you can do it. But the results yielded no emergency messages, no issues, even with the vehicle that was towing it. And keep in mind, there is some of that resistance, so you have to have a high torque.
Yep.
You have to have some torque there. In fact, he was worried about maybe overheating the transmission when they were doing it, but they didn't. And then just remember, he was trying to prove a point about how much fuel that it would physically take to recharge it versus the amount of carbon fuel that it takes to make the electricity anyway. So he proved a couple of points here with that. And I
keep
thought
in
it was
mind
a very
that
interesting. It was a good lesson. Put it that way.
And RVs, you're towing something anyway. So just keep in mind that that weight to an RV, if you're towing a vehicle, it's probably insignificant.
Right.
Yeah,
I think so. Absolutely. So he did this at 70 miles an hour. The key is 70 miles an hour in order for it to kick into that 65 kilowatt rate. And the battery was being replenished at the accelerated rate. He showed it plainly charging at that high rate. He towed the car for about 25 miles. And he got up to, I believe it was around 50 to 65%. Of within 25 miles, and that's that's pretty cool. I mean, that's pretty cool. So you think about that if you're broke down on the road somewhere, and or you're out of power, you would think about calling someone to tow your vehicle, but heck, they could just basically hook you up and just pull you down the highway for about 20 minutes and get you charged and on your way. So there you go.
Yeah.
So, hey man, thinking outside the box, right?
Yeah, I love it. So let's go.
I know where you want to go.
What? Okay.
I think I do.
You just go ahead.
No, you go.
I don't know if Sideshot's coming back or not.
Okay, so here's the deal.
He rode up on his bicycle. When he showed me that okay, everybody, let me just get. May I, Jay, just kind of give a little backstory here for just a second?
Absolutely.
So this is part of, you can call me, this is how I parent. Like I told him before we left for the trip, hey man, your headphones. You're in charge of the headphones and the cable and maybe the charging cord, although it's a standard charging cord, and I've got a bunch of those. And I just knew that he would maybe want to participate. And he went, all right. And then he went right back to the screens, doing the whole, I got one ear, I got the, off the headphone, kind of half paying attention, and he's, and he went, all right, and I got an acknowledgement. So of course, what happened today is, 5 minutes before showtime, and he's like, I don't have my cable, and I went, all right, well, my wife would call these, let's see, she says this is a I can't think of the term, but. It's an organic learning experience, right? Like you just let the consequence. It's a natural consequence. That's the term that she likes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You cannot set somebody up for all the scenarios and learn in those situations. And as a child, you have many of those types of scenarios. I know that I did.
So
and if you're smart, you don't want to make your life hard. You kind of pick up on those things that you should do for the next time that happens.
Yeah.
And sometimes some of us are hard headed.
Well, I have a feeling there will be a headphone cable show up at your house, from Amazon. For when we're there. But then he apparently went through my stuff, which is fine. I have a box of cables, and he found one and came up here on his bicycle and goes, "Hey, I found one." And I went, "Yeah." And you heard the rest. I was like, "Yeah, just go get your headphones and come back." And I don't know.
Right. So here we are. What year is this? 2021?
20, I think, yeah. Last time I checked.
It took us this long to realize, everybody's going carbon neutral, right? They want to go carbon neutral, electric vehicles, carbon neutral, carbon neutral.
Right.
Well, the biggest argument is okay, something has to deliver the electric vehicle. Something has to build the electric vehicle. You have to move product to plants that build those things. So how can you truly be completely carbon neutral?
Well, we've been saying that on this show forever, and I point back to our both YouTube segment and our podcast where we covered where your electricity comes from.
Right.
If you're not familiar, everybody just go check us out over at youtube.com/PartsCounterGurus, or you can hit our website at PartsCounterGurus.com. And there's a podcast tab at the top. Yep. And you can find the link to whatever podcast platform of choice you have, and you can find it all there. Anyway, I digress, Jay. Go ahead.
Yeah, so surely you guys are familiar with what supercars are, hypercars are. We've got an interesting story that popped up. And I'm going to try to say this and pronounce this correctly. I believe it's Koenigsegg. Is that right? Koenigsegg?
Yeah, the kids, I just, from playing all the video games with the kids, they slang, it's they're not, it's Koenigsegg.
Yeah.
And which is not
Koenigsegg.
technically correct.
Right.
I think you're correct, but I just say it like the kids say it, man.
But so this story is kind of interesting. You found it, or either you did or Sideshot did, one of the two. But
right.
We those guys make $3 million supercars, and he has come out and talking about how they're going to use basically a volcano fuel to to help them achieve some carbon neutrality, if you will.
I love it. I freaking love this, just because it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but it's no different than building a dam, hydropower, using your resources, right?
I want to know. So Christian von Koenigsegg said, he started the company in 1994 when he was 22 years old. Mm-hmm. Dude, 22 building supercars.
Yeah, he said he had a dream since he was a young boy to build his own car. We all had that dream. But who knew that you would be starting a supercar, hypercar company at that age, right?
So, yeah, and, he's clearly been, back to kind of what we were talking about in the previous segment with the Teslas and creative thought. He's thinking outside the box. There's a lot of talking here. He's been this way from the beginning, how he builds these cars. And their build, he's at least this one he's talking about building in, I think, Nevada.
Right, Reno.
Yeah, and so he's talking about being propulsion agnostic, and basically they're getting their electric. It's still electric, okay, from what I understand, but it's how they create that electricity. So again, back to kind of our thing of how, where your electricity comes from, and also kind of back to what we've repeatedly said about, what Chuck Lynch told us from AERA, having the ability to draw from multiple fuel sources.
Right.
So this guy is basically saying, Christian is saying, we're just going to use what we can to make that electricity. And in this case, it's volcanic.
It's volcanic CO2 emittance. He goes on to say there's this technology from Iceland. It was invented there, where they cap the CO2 emittance from semi-active volcanoes and convert that into methanol. And if you take the methanol and you power the plants that do the conversion of the other fuels, and then power the ship that transport those fuels to Europe or the U.S. or Asia or wherever it goes, you put the fuel completely CO2 neutral into the vehicle. And see, that's the argument that people have about electric vehicles, that how to prove that point that you are truly carbon neutral.
Yeah.
And that's what we've argued that point as well. And he takes this question head on and says, well, this is how you do it, and this is how you can do it. Now, he does go on, and he laughs a little bit about it, has a chuckle about it. Yes, I know it sounds crazy, but you never know unless you try. And that's the point. And I think also that what you have to take into consideration, who the heck is going to build a $3 million supercar when there are other cars out there for a few $100,000 or even $500,000 or even around $1 million that will perform on true and tried platforms? That's the difference with what these guys actually do, and this is why I like him. People like Elon Musk, same way. They help close the gap in technology by building these types of cars out of these technologies that nobody else will touch. But you have to test them and you have to try it. So this is a good example of an entrepreneur using his head and the money and the cash flow that he has to build a $3 million vehicle that someone's interested in buying. And trust me, these people are they're into philanthropy, and this helps aid that technology. And again, like I said, at the end of the day, you might be thinking right now, why the heck do I care? Because in 10 years, I will guarantee you that some of the technology that comes out of what he is talking about here is going to help close that gap to make the price of these electric vehicles and actually make us get closer to carbon neutrality in a more realistic way. So we'll see what happens.
Jay, I can see it now. So, I've been sending Jay pictures over the past week of some of these superchargers, Tesla superchargers, where like people will just pull up in their like Toyota Tacoma and park in them. Or there was one with a R-Pod, which are sweet little tow behind campers. And the guy just literally so there's like 10 superchargers in a row, and the guy looks it's a grocery store lot, and he's like, oh, well, there's open parking down there, and he rolls in sideways and takes up about 6 of them with his tow vehicle and his R-Pod hooked up, and it's like, dude, and it was not an EV. He was just looking for a place to park at the grocery store. But I can see it now. Okay, somebody pulls into Yellowstone with their, Koenigsegg, which, by the way, the speed limit in Yellowstone, the max speed is 45 miles an hour in the park. So that's the highest
those supercars is kind of
right. It's kind of and he's hooking up his little Doc Brown like vacuum hose over to the top of it, because that's an active Yellowstone's an active volcano, right?
Right.
I mean, okay.
Right.
And he's like capping off a geyser, going, "Well, I need to recharge my car," and the Park Service is like, "Dude, what are you doing?
That's great.
Get off get off of Old Faithful, bro."
Hey, don't say it won't happen, because it might, man. You never know, dude.
That's next, right?
That's next. That's right. Yeah. So there you have it. Wow. So way to go. What's his name again? Von
Christian
Koenigsegg.
Yeah, Christian.
Yeah. So thank you for trying something like that different. That's pretty cool. So.
All right. Well.
Anyway.
I don't think Side Shot's coming back. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay. So why don't we go ahead, and he probably had better things to do.
Well, he's a kid, man. So.
You normally bring this up. Hang on, everybody. I just got a message from his handler, also known as my wife. It's that's his agent. All right, hang on here. I'll let you hear what I'm going to type back to her. The one he brought up here should work, period. I'm pretty sure, period. Send him back up. We'd love to have him sit in with us on this next segment.
Okay, so on to this next story. We talked about this on a podcast for quite a bit back in March of 2021. The podcast was called
I hate to
Dang
say I
Old
told you so.
NASCAR. You're right, man. Yeah, Dang Old NASCAR was the podcast. You can catch that. Go to partscounterguru.com and hit the podcast links. And just choose your favorite platform and go listen away. And that's the name of that is Dang Old NASCAR is back. And we also released a video of that segment over on our YouTube channel. The date on that was March 19 of 2021.
Wow, look at you dialing in
yeah.
That's impressive.
YouTube.com/Parts Counter Gurus on the YouTube channel.
And we joked a little bit about how easy it was to crawl under some of these trucks and four-wheel drives like my FJ. Without needing to jack them up, even my wife's RX, her Lexus,
right.
I can crawl under to change the oil. So pretty easy to get at these catalytic converters.
Oh, definitely. And they've come up with real, quick ways to get them off the vehicle. And
we joked about this, but we weren't kidding. So give us the story, Jay, while Sideshot joins us here. Go around, or you can go that way too.
Right.
Yeah, there he is.
So the bottom line is, and this is in my neck of the woods up here. This is not a joke. This is for real. This happened in the outskirts of Seattle in a little town called Lakewood. So in the upper northeast side of Seattle. Actually, I'm very familiar with it because that's where my mini dealership is. So I've traveled through there quite a bit. So I guess. A gentleman by the name of Mike Campbell was sleeping in his truck, and when he woke up, he found a gentleman under his truck trying to get the catalytic converter. That guy's name was Brent Peltoma, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but Campbell, the owner of the vehicle, said that he told the police he saw two legs sticking out from underneath the truck, and when he opened the passenger door, he fired straight down at the suspected thief, and he fired two more shots at the man, according to some of the police reports.
Yeah, that guy's going to jail. I mean, that is not self-defense. That is not a life-threatening situation. Now, I understand, dude. You're damaging. That's an expensive theft.
That's a
you
property.
Can't shoot somebody for stealing your stuff.
You can't shoot. Exactly. I mean, you can certainly scare them off, maybe fire a shot across the bow to scare them to death. But the situation is that the guy didn't stop there. He took it upon himself to tie him to the back of his truck and then drag him down the highway. And he left him in a field, and the guy ended up dying. And of course, his response to that was, hey, he was alive when I left him there, So there's a couple of things to learn from this particular situation. Is that, number one, your vehicle is and may be very vulnerable to these thieves. There are devices that you can put on them. You can go to Amazon.com. You can go to our website, PartsCounterGuru.com, and we'll give you a link for catalytic converter anti-theft devices. You might think about putting one on. But the second thing here is you want to really learn from this situation is, if you're dumb enough to steal someone's catalytic converter, you're obviously not looking to see that there's someone in the vehicle. And then, this just keeps getting dumber and dumber. You're dumber than the guy sitting in the vehicle. But then he gets dumb and shoots you. There's a lot of dumbness going on here, man, with this. I don't know how else to explain this, but this is just unbelievable that this sort of thing could happen. But be careful when you're stealing catalytic converters. You may not want to.
How about not stealing?
Yeah. Just don't steal them. If this isn't a deterrent enough, so there's your anti-theft device right there. Just lesson learned. But this guy, by the way, I found out he is actually being charged with. Let's see. Let me get the current charges on him. I got it right here. He's getting charged with second-degree murder and first-degree kidnapping. The guy is noted as having a prior felony and conviction.
Well, yeah.
And
now wait,
he wasn't
who's-
supposed to have
who's
a gun
getting
anyway. But
yeah, right. That's what I was gonna say. Is he's got he's got priors, as they say.
he's got priors. He wasn't even supposed to be owning the gun. But that's what I'm saying, man. You guys that are criminals, you're so stupid to not realize that there are people out there stupider than you.
Well,
So
now
there you
Jay,
go.
now you stirred it up. We're gonna get all these criminals writing us comments on our YouTube page with hate mail. So way to upset
Well,
the criminal. You know, hey, to all you criminals out there that are fans of ours, Jay speaks for himself.
Yeah, just make sure you leave a return address so we know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, in the care of the Clink.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So, and look, hey, and so there you go. That's the moral of the story, right? You know, don't go around stealing people's catalytic converters. You can get hurt.
So
right.
look who it is. Look who it is
I know.
here. All right.
He has shown
so
his face.
we're kind of making do with what we have here, and you see me fidgeting with my headphone cable. It's because it's a bad connection. Because I gave SideShot my good one because it's the only one that works in
Oh man!
in-
oh man!
in-
oh man!
in
I tell
his
you what,
headphones?
SideShot.
his expensive Apple Beats headphones. So I'm going to just stand here with my arm in the air for the rest of the segment. So do you want to go with the Lordstown thing? Is that kind
I
of where
think
we're
so.
headed? Okay.
I think so, because I want to hear what SideShot has to say about it. So let's go ahead and get started with this. You know, there's been so much news just in the past few weeks with Lordstown. I mean, Lordstown's CEO was claiming that they were going to get these trucks in production, that they were in production, and all these things going on. Then the next
And
thing
he's
you
gone
know,
now.
Yeah, he's gone. The CFO is gone as well, too, right? They
So-
both resigned.
Everyone, this is a segment I'm going to call Ride with Lordstown Off a Cliff.
Right.
And you know, Jay, and I know we got the haters out there, and to you haters,
I hate to say I told you so.
And I'm just going to come out and get it off my chest in the beginning here. I didn't start this because I've got anything against these guys. I started this telling you people that these guys were saying they were going to be first to the market
Right.
out there with the vehicle.
and
Dude,
we
if you want to
reported
come out
on this
and say you want to make
6 months ago, did we
Right.
not?
absolutely.
This is
And
why
then
you
you
need to be subscribed to our channel, everybody. YouTube.com/partscountergurus. Because we were on this first when nobody else was on it, and we said, this is not going to go well.
It has the appearance that Lordstown is not interested in selling vehicles. They're interested in selling stock.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
their own, right? And which happened.
So-
And
You know who
I wanna hear-
Lordstown is?
yeah.
Yeah, you have to say,
Yes.
yeah, okay. And so what? How long have you known about them?
Probably when we came up with the idea to podcast about them.
Okay, so maybe 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Almost 7.
And what? What is your opinion? Now, I guess for those of you that have not seen SideShot in any of our segments before, he's a big EV fan. He's kind of the guy that has gotten Jay and I into EVs. What's your opinion of Lordstown?
So I kind of think they, had a good idea, but that Lordstown, their whole company and what they're saying, you really cannot believe what some of the things they're saying. It's kind of iffy. I mean,
Can I get a little I hate to say I told you so in there for that, please? Go ahead.
Sure.
I hate to say I told you so.
Okay, go ahead,
Now,
SideShot. Continue.
To be fair,
Yeah.
like I don't regularly consult with him on what Please give me your opinion so I know what to say on the podcast.
mean, Is it me though, or
Is it me?
is the story changing every day?
It is.
I mean,
yeah.
like right over the
yeah.
cliff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not a fan. I mean, what else do you have to add to that? Anything?
I just kind of thought they had a cool idea, and I think it would have gone well if all of this hadn't happened.
Well, you actually have to make what you're telling people you're going to make, though, right? I mean, you have
Yes.
to. Yeah. Okay. So Jay, go ahead and give us the details, as they say.
Well, Lordstown, as you guys know, they're in chaos right now. The company said that they had no binding orders. Then they came out and said, yes, we do, to some fleets, that sort of stuff. They're saying it does have binding orders now that's going to keep them going for the next 2 years. But now they're filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission that it had no binding. I mean, it's just they're all over the place. I don't know what to actually make of what's happening with these guys.
Let me recap. Can I recap?
Yes.
Yes, we do. No, you don't. Yes, we do. No, you don't. Yes, we do. No, you don't. Yes, you don't. No, we do. Wait, what?
Right. Exactly. It's just, and see, now here's the thing, okay? We're not picking on Lordstown. We're just giving you the news, guys. So for all of you Lordstown people or people that are, what I am finding is the people that have been commenting on our videos are the ones that have invested into this stock. So there you go. And I get that.
Well, didn't Steve Burns, the CEO, didn't he at one point, like when we started reporting on this, he said like haters gonna hate or something like that?
Oh, he said that live on television.
Or we're just actually gonna report the facts. I mean,
right.
Whatever.
Right. So the latest in this, and Keith, you're very familiar with Camping World, right?
Yeah. Oh, boy, am I.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Boy,
so,
am I. Yeah.
It's as you well know, it's owned by TV personality Marcus Lemonis, who's a businessman. He owns the Camping World as well.
Well, it's a public company, but he's
the chairman and CEO.
And he really can't even be replaced by the board the way that he structured his deal. So
right.
Yes.
So here's the latest news. Well, what it was, we had understood that basically Camping World was going to partner with Lordstown on the production of an electric motorhome, RV, all that
That's
sort
great.
of stuff.
So we
right?
have two companies that can't turn a profit partnering together. Okay.
Right.
Hey,
so
and for those of you that think go look at Camping World's last 3 fiscal years.
So as reported by CNBC, he is the star of CNBC's The Profit. The show is
the irony. Okay.
The show is about saving small businesses. He announced on Saturday on Twitter that while his Camping World company plans to launch electric-powered recreational vehicles, Lordstown Motors will not be part of that now. Mm-hmm.
Well, and that was a smart decision on his part. And for those of you thinking I'm giving Camping World a hard time, I mean, we're huge customers of that brand and of that company. I just know, like, from personal experiences, which I won't. If you want to hear those, go back and listen to previous episodes of the podcast, partscounterguru.com. Click on the podcast tab. It'll take you to all the podcast platforms. But they've got service centers in these Camping World locations that are backed up 3 months or more to get to you. And somehow this company still can't figure out how to get out of the red. So, it's a mess. Anyway.
Well, and I mean, the stock market with those guys they're so up and down. But the day that he made this announcement, which was earlier this week, the ride stock closed at more than $20 per share. But Monday's this past week's closing was $10 a share.
Yeah.
And it has sat there. And today I checked it. It's sitting at. It opened at around 10, and it's still sitting around 10, so it's not making much progress.
It seems like a real bargain.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But so, for all of you Lordstown stockholders, keep playing. That's all I gotta say. The game ain't over yet.
Actually, I this is more of this is probably more fitting, don't you think?
I'm almost of the mindset to throw a Wile E. Coyote video of him going over the cliff with a anvil
with the sign that says "Whoops." Yeah.
Whoops. Yeah.
So, all right. So we've beat up on those guys enough.
Right.
Although it is kind of fun. You want to get into some Ford stuff?
We want to really get into some Ford stuff. So this is going to be the interesting, for me, one of the most exciting parts of this podcast. I think you all have known over the last several years of us podcasting how big of a fan Keith, Sideshot, and myself are of Ford and what they're doing and how they're doing things. They have really, you know, that you had the Mustang Mach-E that came out, and you know now they just introduced the F-150 all-electric Lightning. Now we have the Ford Maverick that has come about, which is the new trend, which is the compact or small truck market that several podcasts ago, Keith and I had a long, in-depth conversation about it. Well, who are they catering to? They're catering to exactly who we said they would, which is the people living in cities that need a vehicle that's a little bit more versatile than just a standard SUV or a sedan. Now you get the best of both worlds. Some of these vehicles can actually tow. The capacity is pretty decent for what they are. Now, granted, some of them are unibody, some of them are not. I think the Honda Ridgeline just changed their underpinning a little bit to make it a little bit more rigid than the standard unibody vehicles that are out there. But this compact truck market is gaining a lot of momentum, and Ford's right in the middle of it. And that's why we want to talk a lot about Ford today and some of the things that are happening. First and foremost, Sideshot, I know you're a big fan of the Ford Bronco, right?
Yes.
And I've been kind of keeping in touch with you guys, and I told you I found out that a local dealership of mine is going to be receiving their demo version of that Bronco.
Look at this face. Look at the face.
Ear to ear, man. And we're hoping that while you're in the area, we'll be able to get our hands on that thing and
so
drive
you guys,
it.
So hey, if you want an inside in-person, I say in-person, it will be in person. You'll be watching us in person. We've got a Bronco on the way, not a sport, right, Jay? An actual Bronco.
Nope, this is a full-size Bronco, yeah.
We're going to have a look at. We're going to get to have a good go through with. Make sure you're subscribed to us over on YouTube, youtube.com/Parts Counter Gurus, and you'll be notified when that video comes out.
Right. So, and that came on the heels because I found out that Bronco Ford was had made an announcement. I think it was around the 15th of June that they were going, from production to finish, from being built to built. Their customers were getting notifications on their delivery dates, and also they made the announcement that they were going to be delivering to dealerships all over the country to demo for their customers. There's a lot of excitement about this for a number of reasons. The marketing has been absolutely incredible. Father's Day, the release of the video that was the Bronco Nation Happy Father's Day video. If you guys didn't see that,
I cried.
Great
Did I not
marketing,
cry?
man. Oh man,
He did.
I mean, it pulled at mine too. I mean, and we all grew up with their dads. They always had a favorite vehicle of some sort, and typically sons and dads and daughters and dads will have that connection with a vehicle of some sort. There'll be something, and this is based around an early Bronco. And if you haven't seen it, we will put up a link.
Okay.
For folks to grab that and take a look at that.
And I don't want to spoil it, but I will say, Jay, inside joke here. So for those of you that haven't seen it, go watch it. Maybe hit pause here. Check the description. Go watch the video. It's about 3 minutes long. And then come back, okay, and then resume. The only thing that would have made that video better, Jay, is if at the end it would have been Jay Leno handing him the keys. Right?
Oh, yeah.
To his Bronco, right?
There you go. Yes.
Yeah, okay. But I digress.
They went in the direction that I was hoping that they were going to go in.
Yeah.
And that was the daughter buying,
all right, don't let the cat out of the bag, as they speak. I don't know who's putting cats in bags, but yeah.
No, but again, I mean, tell me that is not one of the most. I mean, what a perfect marketing.
And let's go into something else that's brilliant: the Bronco Rodeo. So this has been on our radar for a little while. They're calling it the Bronco Off Rodeo, and basically it means that there's a handful of locations around the United. Oh, you got the details. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got the details. So why don't you let me go ahead and let me tell you what this is about. At the end of the day, again, it is marketing. It is Ford at its finest, marketing this Ford Bronco as it should be marketed, giving you, the consumer, the opportunity to take this thing in and drive it and put it through the test yourself before you even go buy one. You don't have to buy one. You can just become part. You can buy the opportunity to drive one before you buy it,
or
and put it in a
if you
real
own
world
one,
situation.
you have access to this for free. I think it's
That's right.
included in
So-
your purchase, as they say.
That is. So let me give you the details. Bronco Off-Roading is the essence of the Bronco brand. This is what Ford is saying. It's an off-roading and outdoor adventure playground located at 4 epic destinations across the United States, which I'll give those momentarily, with experiences that will build your confidence, expand your skills, and encourage you to get out into the wild for years to come. It's designed to challenge and excite both the novices and the experts. Bronco Off-Roading will welcome you into the world of Bronco, celebrate the great outdoors and adventure-seeking lifestyle that come with it, and ultimately inspire you to learn it, love it, and live it. Ford.
I mean,
Ford.
holy cow! Like, this is like a track day for an off-road car, right? For
Right.
an off-road vehicle. It's
It is,
brilliant.
so-
It's brilliant. And for
so
those
the
of you making fun of
locations-
me for holding my, we're having a little bit of a technical. I gave Side Shot my good headphone cable, so I don't have duct tape within arm's reach, so I'm sitting here holding my cable in so I can hear. But
It's all good. It's fine. It works. So we're going to have in Texas, there's going to be one in Austin. There's going to be one in Utah in Moab.
of course, you have to have one there.
Right. Yep. You're going to have one in Nevada, which is going to be in Las Vegas, which also makes sense. And we, folks,
Makes sense
just,
for us. I mean,
Yeah, just so you guys know, and Keith and I have already talked about this, we're going to be in Las Vegas for the SEMA show this year. And I have requested that our CFO allow us to budget the money in to go rent this time and be able to do this. If we get to do that, man, I'm going to be on
Yep.
hog heaven, as they say. And there's one going to be in the Northeast, which they haven't revealed the location
Well,
yet. Don't
they
give any
had a
information on it.
location, and then the community that they signed the deal with kind of backed out and said, we don't want you having your Bronco off-rodeo here. So they're having to now find – it was in Vermont, I think.
Right.
So now they're having to backpedal and try to find another location in the Northeast, which that's a
Right.
high population center in the United States. It makes sense that they would try to pick an area there.
So let me tell you the excitement that's surrounding not just this Bronco off-rodeo, but if there's a couple of forums that you guys should. Well, Bronco 6G forum is dedicated to this new generation of Bronco, and then of course there's Bronco Nation. Those two, just join them. Go check them out if you're a Bronco fan. I highly recommend it. But
and then
Broncos,
of course, don't forget us. But yeah.
well, yeah, for sure. Yeah, sorry about that. Hey, yeah, there you go. My marketing is terrible, but this is something that just happened. Like this is today. An owner of one of these that, of course, as you all well know, we had to reserve them and then pay for them and order them. His salesman texted him this morning. His order showed up on the truck today. And taking delivery as soon as they prep it is when. So he's pretty pumped about that. He goes. The build date was on the 18th of this of June. It was built on the 19th of June. They gave him a delivery window of June 24th to the 30th, and it showed up on the 22nd.
So Ford is managing through their chip shortages on these things. They're making them a priority, it sounds like. Now, Side Shot. Okay, not full-size Broncos, but Bronco Sports, which we know went into production sooner than the actual full-size Bronco. Rough guesstimate, we were in Yellowstone last week, right?
Yes.
How many did we see?
3 or 4, and we saw, we saw one like 7, 8 times, but
We think it was the same one.
we think there was like
We saw like a
3 or
maroon
4
one. We
different
saw cactus green. We saw an Area 51. We saw black.
Do you know what you're talking about?
I don't know what I'm talking about.
No.
What?
There was
Wow, I just got called out on my own show, Jay. What?
Whoa!
What am I talking about?
So there was the cactus gray. There was one like the Area 51 color actually looked a lot different than I would have thought. There was like a black one
Yeah.
and a maroon one.
Okay, so what did
Right.
I not get right there? That you?
Cactus green.
Oh, we didn't. Oh, cactus gray. Sorry. All right, green gray. It was a green. It was more. It looked more green to me than gray. Did it not to you?
Green?
All right, whatever.
Where does it
Whatever.
say
Hey,
green?
everybody,
got-
make
would
sure
you-
you hit subscribe so that y'all can keep me honest
Right.
in the
Can
comments.
you guys settle this over a rock, paper, scissors match
Holy
or something,
cow.
please?
Holy
Yeah.
cow.
So,
Okay.
So here's what's interesting too, and Sideshot brought up one of the colors, which is Area 51. I'll have you guys know that the Ford Maverick, the new small compact pickup truck that Ford has released, that thing is going to be coming in some of the same colors, including Area 51, which is pretty
Which-
cool.
I think it's cool. I hope that they don't. You need to have a couple colors that are exclusive to the Bronco to keep that prestige, I think. But I'm
Yes.
fine with them sharing some of the colors.
But let's talk about this. Let's talk about this Ford marketing the Maverick again.
okay.
Okay, and how important. And I'm loving tying all this together because I think it's important that we discuss how well Ford is handling some of the problems that have obviously plagued most of the automotive industry and other manufacturing industries utilizing chips. But Ford has already racked up, they said, about 36,000 orders for the 2022 Maverick. It says that the manufacturing should be beginning on August the 16th of this year. Says that the prices for the Maverick will start at $19,995, the mid-range at $22,280, and the top spec is around $25,490. Now, if you get everything, there is an engine package that you get, which is the I think Pro 4X package. There is a 2.5 liter hybrid engine on standard for most of these, but the buyers can add the 2.0 liter EcoBoost, which has 250 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque, which is an additional charge. The turbocharged engine is available with all-wheel drive for an additional $2,200.
That's going to be crazy fun.
It is 17-inch wheels with the FX4 package. It'll be all-wheel drive, obviously. It's going to have skid plates, trailer hitch, heavy-duty radiators, heavy-duty engine cooling fans. If you get this thing completely to the highest level, packed out, you're still well under a full-size pickup truck starting price at around $42,000. That's completely loaded. That's
Wow.
everything.
That's amazing.
That's pretty amazing.
And you were talking just not too long ago about the colors, like Area 51 would be
Yeah.
coming to the Maverick. You know, I really love that red and the yellow, but I feel like the yellow is something they should keep special to the Bronco.
Well, but you can't really have a Maverick without a yellow, right, Jay? I mean, that was the
Yeah, and
iconic color for the old Maverick.
Yeah, and I would expect that if they're using that color, that it's only going to be available on specific packages like
Yeah,
the FX4. So
I
be an
think you're right,
off-road
yeah.
That's what I
version
would
of that.
expect.
So I would say they'll reserve that probably for that because there is up cost in specific colors, and it's only available in specific packages from what I was reading. So that's typical. I think that was typical here of the Bronco 2
Right.
as well in certain instances, just as some of the accessories you could or couldn't get. But can you not tell me that this is not just one of the best marketing packages that they've put together for what they're doing right now? The Mach-E, the Maverick, and this Bronco, man.
Yeah, and where did this come from? Like 5 years ago, Ford's marketing was kind of like meh, and now all of a sudden they are in conversations every day. They're
Everything.
getting news feeds on your smart devices. They're in the middle of those every day. This is a love or hate the Ford brand. And I sort of feel like, a sportscaster, I'm kind of agnostic. I'm neutral. I'm just calling the color commentary on what I see, right? This is a brilliant move in terms of the marketing being done by Ford.
Right.
They've
Right.
done a fantastic job.
They have done a fantastic job, and the versatility that they give this Maverick for people who, it's got a short bed, because it's a quad cab and it's basically a sedan.
What's a car? Yeah.
It's a car, right? But they came through with it. If you look at the stance, it's much wider than a normal sedan would be. The profile of the bed is much higher in the back end. So you got a lot of depth with the bed, but they built in a lot of connectivity there for its consumers, as well as ways to stow items in there. There's in body stowage underneath.
Yep.
There's the bars like what Nissan did on their quad cab Frontiers with the tubular bars to extend that. So everything they've done here, they've designed it to do exactly what someone would want out of a smaller pickup truck. It's got all the luxuries of a sedan, but it's got all of the utility of a pickup truck. I love it. I think it's a great thing.
I can't wait to see one in person.
Oh, me either. And they will be out soon.
And if you're, so just stay plugged into us, and we will get you an inside look when they start showing up. Everybody,
they are saying, some of the forums, just to kind of end on this note, that the Ford Maverick will probably be in dealers early 2022 on the lots. And that's a pretty quick turnaround, which tells you they've been working on this thing for a while, very secretively.
Yep. All right, so there you go. It'll be on our YouTube channel in early 2022. Make sure you're over there, subscribed at youtube.com/Parts Counter Gurus.
That's it. All right, so what else we got? Is there anything else we had?
I think we should save the rest until the next one, which everybody, I want to just remind you, we've got a 100th episode coming up. We're going to record that live on July 7th. We may or may not do some live streaming for that. Just stay plugged into the socials. You'll find out more. Jay's going to give you those in just a second. But that is coming up. That is our 100th podcast episode. We're pretty excited about that. We've got some cool audience participation, fan participation things that are going to be included in that. So if you want to find out more, Jay, tell them how they can find out more.
All right, so first of all, pay attention to our social media accounts, facebook.com/Parts Counter Gurus. Check us out over on Instagram, where we are the Parts Counter Gurus. Check us out on Twitter. We go by the handle of @TheCounterShow. Go to our website, partscounterguru.com. And you can go and shop there on the there's an Amazon icon. If you click that, you can go shop, and it kind of gives us some love. We don't know what you're buying. We don't know who you are, but anything that you purchase through that helps us out. We would much appreciate it. If you've already done that, thank you very much. We've already felt your love. We appreciate it. You can go to our podcast link for any of the podcasts. You can go to your favorite platform, whether it be Apple or iTunes or Apple Podcasts, I should say. Google Play. You've got Google Podcasts. You've got Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, you name it. We are there. These segments of the podcast that we put together in video form are over on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Parts Counter Gurus. While you are there, please click that subscribe button and also click the bell, because when you do that, that will give you notification when we release our videos, and you'll be the first to know once that video comes out and you can watch it. And when you watch it, always give us a thumbs up, because those things help us get more to more people. We become more visible when you're doing that. If you've already subscribed, please ask a friend, a family member, or a prisoner. It doesn't matter. Just if they have access to YouTube, please go ahead and have them subscribe. We'd love to have them on board. So there you go.
You know what I love about doing some of these remote podcasts is you never know who or what is going to show up and with what. So one of the great things, Jay, that I love, and you know this about traveling, is kind of getting to experience different local beverages, know, of flavor. So we have Mom just showed up with. You want to put this can on camera so everybody can get a look at it. This is his. Hold it right up there to the camera, but don't spill it on my laptop. This is. I love it. Here, I got it. This is Old Faithful root beer. See that? It's got the National Park logo on the on the can. It's from Grand Teton Brewing, who makes actual beer, but also root beer for the kids. And it's pretty. So you've had a lot of different root beers. What do you think about that?
definitely tastes different from the others. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like it's kind of special.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it tastes pretty good.
It's Grand Teton Brewing. You never know when you're going to get a surprise segment on this program, everybody. I mean, you just never
Right.
know. Okay.
Grand Teton Brewing,
So-
that's fantastic. So
Yeah.
I'll have to keep that in mind because there are a couple of brewers here that brew their own root beer as well. Farmstrong being one of them.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of other ones. So we'll make sure
Well,
we get
we can get him to rate them. Yeah. So okay. So
right.
in closing, as this has been kind of a controversial episode, I feel it's only appropriate to close with, to continue the controversy. So again, everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you can ride with Parts Counter Gurus. See what I did there? And until next time, remember, the toilet paper goes over, not under.